Hey, I've been seeing some of these posts lately about how terrible apartment deliveries are. Well, what if I told you that I basically agree with you? Apartment deliveries do suck in many ways. Um, of course, when you accept the order, you don't know exactly what unit is. That's part of the problem. You don't know if it's a third floor unit. You don't know if it's a ground floor unit. You don't know where in the building it is. You don't know how long. Unless you're really paying attention, you generally don't know how long the building is. Um, I've gotten to the point where I can look at the order at the request screen and have the building nailed down before I even decline it, which I usually do. But part of the other problem with this, of course, I also have opted out of shop and deliver, which is another way that you can save yourself this pain. Um, I don't do shop and delivers, and being on the DoorDash app, I don't have a whole lot of grocery. I don't have any grocery pickups at all. Uber, you can. It can happen with Walmart orders on occasionally, but of course, Spark has the lion's share of Walmart orders these days, and so you don't see very many of them on Uber Eats, but you do on occasion. However, in this semi-rural, ex-urban market of mine, those orders typically have a tendency to go to rural or semi-rural areas, neighboring towns around Forest Lake. They are not typically going to apartments, and when the Home Depot and Menards orders, those definitely don't go to apartments. They typically go to homes, which in this market means that edge of town, out of town deliveries. Nice drives, by the way. But at the same time, you don't know what apartment, you don't know what unit number it's going to be to begin with. Even if you know the building, you typically are not given the apartment unit itself in the request. You have to accept first in order to be able to see that, which is one problem right there. So I typically decline pretty much all apartment orders. Another problem that doesn't get mentioned very much, and I'm going to throw it in here, is it's an overcast day in Forest Lake today. Cell reception tends to go to crap. Even though I'm on a much better network now, ever since I switched from Verizon to T-Mobile, you have when the skies are overcast, the reception tends to go to crap, pretty much regardless of the excellence of your network. So if you're not able to get reception, the building actually makes it worse most of the time. And so if you don't have any reception when you make the drop off, of course, there's the risk of a terms of service violation for taking too long to drop off or for not having a picture of the drop off, whatever, because most of those situations, you have to drive away from the building to get your reception back so that you can even send if you were able to snap the picture, to even be able to upload it on DoorDash in particular. You have to drive away from the building, so in that case, then it took you too long to drop off. Terms of service violation right there. That's another reason right there to avoid apartments, particularly in inclement weather. And this is true in the wintertime up here as well with snowstorms. Same effect. So, yes, you folks are right. Apartment deliveries largely do suck. The reception one can apply both to food deliveries and grocery deliveries as well. So, on bad weather days, you generally don't want to be in apartments really at all. And, excuse me, with your grocery apartment deliveries, again, I've seen it a lot. You have to go a long ways. You're going up 3 flights of stairs. You got to go out into the building. This is true. I agree with you guys on this one. It's very, very true. And so I will say that apartments largely do suck. I do everything I can to avoid them. I reject most of them, particularly in town here. Especially if we got some on the south edge of the original town, which a lot of those have difficult or tight entrances as well. And they don't have, and the other apartment problem that can exist is entry itself. Sometimes you can buzz, sometimes they won't answer, sometimes if you're lucky enough, you get a newer building and where the customer can provide a delivery 6-digit code to enter on the keypad to get in. Occasionally, if you're lucky enough, you get one of those, but otherwise you got to buzz the actual unit number and try to get in that way. So that's another problem with apartment buildings. So, yes, what if I told you that apartment buildings kind of do suck? And I think you're right. I avoid them at I avoid them at every opportunity that I can, every opportunity that makes sense. So unless they're given just a whopper of a tip, like $10 or $15 or something, just off the charts like that, and it's an in-town delivery, I'm only going a mile or two to get a $17 order, then I might take it. Then I might just suck it up and take the risk. But otherwise, no. You guys are right. Apartments you do suck. I will call it that, and I will see you on the next round. Peace out, homies.